If you were to grab a random entry and a random exit, put them together, you might get a strategy that is not profitable at all. So you might have to repeat it a few more times, and then eventually, perhaps, maybe if you're lucky, 500 strategies later, after repeating the entire process again and again, you might get something that looks like this, where just by chance, you get a good entry, a good exit that matches the asset's personality, and you find something that actually works. So unfortunately, this process is very low success rate. 99.99% of the strategies that you create might be trash strategies. So if I am admitting that a lot of these are going to be trash strategies, why do I use it in both my live trading process and my experiment phase? So this is the overall workflow of how I build strategies, and the building of the strategies goes here into the build phase. And when I finally do find a combination, a sweet combination of the exit and entry criteria that do work together, then it moves. I take this rules and I put it into my next stage, which is to test it. And a lot of times, again, unfortunately, these strategies will fail the test. So I throw them out and I pick new strategies, start it again from the build stage. It might seem like a lot of effort, but actually, no, not really, because I don't do this myself manually. I use software like Strategy Quant to do it for me. So I am out and about eating dinner with my knife and fork and my chicken. That's a chicken, by the way, because I'm such a fantastic artist. So even though this process has a very low win rate and only 0.001 of strategies might pass, it's okay, because let's take a quick look at the logical build versus the random build. So a lot of the times what people will tell you is that you need to create strategies from logic. And yes, I agree that this will generally tend to have a higher success rate, let's call it a medium success rate of about 1 in 400 strategies or so. However, this is very slow. So how long does it take you to build a strategy from scratch? Multiply that by 400 times. Is it half an hour? Is it a few hours? So this is very, very, very high effort. But compare that to the random build. So this, unfortunately, yes, I admit it has a low success rate, but it is fast, super fast. And what's important for me is that it is a low effort. So I can generate viable strategies a lot faster than someone who is building strategies manually despite the low success rate. But speed is not the only thing I care about, because if we take a look at my overall strategy development process, you've got basic 4 steps. You've got the build, test, breaking your strategy, and then combining them in a portfolio. And if I talk you through something called Fredkin's paradox, where the idea that we spend most of our time on the least important decisions, because build is just a quarter of the entire process, where most people spend the efforts. Testing, breaking, and the portfolio is where I want to spend most of my efforts. And once I've mastered these 3 sections, then I'll go back and concentrate on the build process. And I know a lot of you don't believe me when I say not all your strategies need to be logical, because the majority of the information out there tells you, yes, it does need to be logical. And only a small minority of people say, not really. Let's talk about this book called The Man Who Solved the Market, How Jim Simons Launched the Quant Revolution. This is a fantastic book, by the way. It's about a hedge fund called Renaissance Technologies, who has the best trading track record in all of history, in the entire world. And with Jim Simons, he didn't employ traders, he employed mathematicians, physicists, weather forecasters, really smart people from a whole bunch of different fields who had never traded before. And in chapter 14 of the book, Renaissance staffers deduced that even more influenced investment, including forces not readily apparent or sometimes even logical. So the smartest minds in history who have produced the most consistent trading returns over decades, even they could not make sense of the signals that they were generating. They couldn't give a logical reason why their system was making money. So when I accepted the fact that potentially creating strategies that might seem illogical to our monkey brain, once I accepted that, that was resolved the build. So I could concentrate my efforts on the test, break, and combine, because I had questions. Questions like, which time frame is the most profitable, backed with data? Are simple or more complex strategies profitable? And how much data should I use in my strategy design? All those are questions I want to ask, which I know there is information out there, but no one really backs up the data with statistics. So I created strategies randomly, and I answered these questions and proved to myself what if the common beliefs were true or were false. So one of the most recent questions I wanted to ask was, how does Monte Carlo robustness testing affect a strategy's probability of profitability? And there's a lot of different variations of Monte Carlo. The one I specifically wanted to test was the parameter sensitivity test. So let's say you have a strategy that uses the RSI value of 10 and the ADX of 20, and this is what your equity chart looks like. Let's say you change your settings a little bit. So 10 might be 5, 15, and ADX might be 20, 25. So you generate these other equity curves using different variations, and you get these squiggly green lines, which I hope are appearing on the screen. If not, then let me quickly draw them out. So that is what your new equity chart might look like, slightly above the original line and slightly below the original line, which is ideally what you want. You don't want a bunch of squiggly lines down here, because that means your settings are too sensitive and it probably won't work in live trading conditions. And there's a lot of different variations on this one test, like how many strategies are you going to test? How many probability of going up or going down? Should you go up 10% of the different variation or 20%? So I went and took the exact settings that I use in my strategy development process that I also share to my students. And what I found was quite interesting. So I went and generated 631,000 strategies, and I mapped out their probability over 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, 4-hour time frames. And I wanted to see if these strategies would perform well in live trading conditions. And I covered Forex, metals, and indices. And I found that just creating the strategy and just doing a very, very basic out of sample test, I saw that overall the 4-hour time frame was most profitable and the 15-minute time frame was least profitable. And this was consistent across all the different assets that I tested. What was shocking was when I added a Monte Carlo filter. So this is what the new picture looks like. I found the 4-hour time frame, the profitability jumped up to by about 2%. The 1-hour time frame jumped up more, the 30-minute jumped up 4%, and the 15-minute time frame, that jumped up by 20%. It was amazing. When I first looked at the data, which was about 7,000 strategies spanning over 8 to 10 years of simulated live trading. When I first looked at the data and I saw 15-minute time frame jumps up by so much, surely that's a fluke. There must be something that skewed the data. But I analyzed Forex, metals, indices separately, and this picture here was consistent across all of them. So the common knowledge that the higher time frames is more profitable, yes, that is true. But when you add Monte Carlo tests, I added 2 of them, it changes the dynamics totally. It does improve everything by a little bit, but most of all, improved the 15-minute time frame by a huge 20%. This experiment totally blew my mind. I had always dismissed the 15-minute as being not that great of a time frame, but based on my latest study, combining just raw data and then the Monte Carlo, it means that 15 minutes is now such an awesome time frame to trade. By the way, Darwinex Zero is a great platform that allows you to use a simulated account and trade on that simulated account. If you open a CFDs broker account, then you get 100K. If you open up a futures account, then you get $1 million. And there are multiple ways to get allocation and funding with Darwinex Zero. There's boosters which you can optionally buy. There's the silver stage where you can get funded between 30K and 375K in allocation. Then there's the gold, which is 50K to 500K in allocation. And then lastly, investor capital, which can get into the millions and millions of dollars. So one of my students recently just finished silver and went into gold, and he managed to achieve one of the highest rankings in the silver stage, giving him a total allocation and funding of over 300K. And here is the screenshot of what he shared within the community 2 weeks ago, originally when he was still in the silver stage, and then his funding jumped. You can see in the second screenshot, now he's over in the gold and he is funded with over 300K in allocation. He took the workflow that I teach to my students, applied it to the futures market, and managed to get Darwinex Gold using the workflow that I teach. So if you want to join up with Darwinex Zero, there is a 10% discount if you use the code Lisa. So because I had an open mind and I was willing to test out strategies that were totally trash, I could answer questions like which time frame is the most profitable? Are simple or complex strategies profitable? And these lessons that I learn when I create strategies using experiments that used trash strategies, they are still valid when I go back and build strategies using the logical method. So watch this video next, where I show you one of my experiments comparing simple versus complex strategies.